All right, what is up, everybody? Wednesday's checklist, warm-up notes, and the problematic at the end. Today we're going to be learning something a little bit new. It's going to use ratio and proportions, and we're going to combine it with a little bit of circle knowledge. So, going over the warm-up, number one, solve 5 times n minus 4, all being divided by -2 is the same as 10. First thing, break it apart. 5 over -2n. Again, this part right here, you're going to have to put this in a calculator, and because you have two symbols. You have -4 over -2. You put that in a calculator, you press enter, it's going to change it to +2. So the real problem we were solving was 5 over -2n plus 2 equals 10. From there, I have +2, so I subtract 2 from each side. The 2's cancel out. I'm left with 5 over -2 times n equals 8. I said times 5 over -2, so I divided each side by 5 over 2. 8 divided by 5, -5 over 2 is -3 1/5. If you wanted to check your answer, you plug it back in. 5 times -3 1/5 minus 4, all being divided by -2. You press enter, you're going to get +10, the same answer, so that checks out. Number 2, commission problem. Salary right here, $900. 2% commission on everything that she sells, and she sells a house for $125,999. How much in total did she make? Well, the first thing, we got to find the commission. She gets 2% of the house, meaning she gets $2,519.98. In addition to that, she also gets her monthly salary of $900, giving her a grand total of D, $3,419.98. Number 3, circumference problem. First thing I did, radius and diameter. Well, I looked. They didn't give me the radius and the diameter, but they did say this word circumference. So the first thing I would have started off with, the circumference equals pi times diameter. From there, I know the circumference is 250. I know that pi times the diameter is 250. Well, I'm going to divide each side by pi. That tells me that the diameter is about 79.5. But this question wanted to know the radius. So again, half the diameter is a radius, meaning 39.78, something around that. Your decimals could be off, but approximately 39 or 40. And last one, number 4, determine the volume of this figure. Well, we have a triangular prism. Again, thinking back to yesterday, we have volume is the same as the area of the base times the height of the prism. I have a triangular base because it's a triangular prism, meaning that the real volume formula I'm using is 1/2 base of the triangle, height of the triangle, times the height or how tall the entire structure prism is. Right here we have a right angle. That means we have a 3 by 5 base, so 1/2 times 5 times 3. And then remember, if you get confused, you stand it up nice, straight, and tall on its base, and you can clearly see the entire structure is 12 inches high, so I multiply that times 12, and I get a final answer of 90 cubic inches. 90 inches to the 3rd power, cubic inches, 90 cubic inches. All right, if you have to go back through, pause the video, get your warm-ups done, do so at this time. Moving along, today, our daily dose. The first thing, I need you to write an inequality for these 2 graphs and also list 3 possible answers that could be a solution set. Pause the video, give this a try, see how you do. And then there's a part B underneath that if you want to try to do that as well, go ahead. First up, well, I have a dark filled in circle. So I already know that something is equal to -3. And then I got to think, these numbers that are to the right are all greater than -3. So right here, I know that x is greater than or equal to, because of the closed-in dot, -3. And then any number to the right I could use. Well, the first number that makes that true is -3, because -3 is greater than or equal to -3. -2 to the right of -3 is larger. And then I went +5, because any positive number is greater than a negative number. Second one. Again, I have a closed-in circle, so I know something is equal to 2. But again, all these numbers to the left are going to be smaller. The first number, again, we have x is less than or equal to 2. The first number that makes it true is 2 itself. 2 is less than or equal to 2, yes. 1 is less than or equal to 2, yes. And then again, I just threw a random negative number because all negatives are less than positives. So right there, there's our inequality, there's our solution set. Inequality and a solution set. Down below, there were 4 equations to solve. First thing is you kind of have to think about which ones can I eliminate. I eliminated A right off the bat. We're trying to see which one matches the first graph. This has an equal sign. It's not less than, it's not greater than, it's neither. So I'm not even solving that. Not wasting my time, because clearly I'm only going to get one answer, not an infinite number of answers. Letter choice B, you solve, you add or subtract 5 from both sides, you divide by -2, we find x is greater than or equal to -3. Well, I look back up, we were looking for something that was greater than or equal to -3. So right there, B is our correct answer choice. I'll leave all the work up here for a second though so you can see it. I'll kind of scroll down, you should have A and B. Again, A eliminated, don't even solve. B I solved correctly, C and D both listed here. Just be careful, some people are going to pick C. Again, when I divide by that negative, the sign flips. So if you got C as the correct answer, it's because you didn't flip your sign and you were supposed to. All right, moving on. Today we're going to do some circle problems, but they're kind of involving graphs and circles at the same time. So first one, let's take a look and we'll kind of make some observations. The circle graph shown to the left is a number of cell phones at Verizon sold. A total of 2,712 cell phones were sold that day. In the chart, it says unlimited data plan, and 153 degrees of that graph is people who were charged for an unlimited data plan. So, what observations could we make? Well, I listed some here. Okay, we know that there is a total of 2,712 total phones sold. Just got that right from the problem. I also know that less than half, okay? Half would look something like this. If I continued this here, then I could say half, but this is less than half, so less than half of that graph have an unlimited plan. And then lastly, I have here, the unlimited plan makes up 153 degrees of the circle. And the last kind of part that we should probably have thought of, I know all circles have a total of 360 degrees. This basic information, we're comparing those who have an unlimited plan to the total number of plans. Well, this kind of sounds like a little bit like a ticket problem. I have the amount of degrees over the total number of degrees. So, first off, let's apply a little bit of this information to this problem. Approximately how many cell phones were sold with an unlimited plan? Okay, well, what relationship is there between the degrees and the unlimited and the degrees in a circle? Is there similar relationship among the total and the number that chose it? And how can we use previous knowledge of proportions? Well, the first thing, I'm kind of thinking back to when you first learned about ratios, parts to whole. The first thing I know is that there's 153 degrees in my chart that I had there. And there's a whole of 360 degrees in the entire whole circle. I also know that there's a total or a whole number of 2,712 people with an unlimited data plan. And I don't know, with a phone from Verizon, but I don't know how many of them chose the unlimited plan. But again, if I set this up, now it looks like something that I've seen before. I can cross multiply. So 300 times x, or 360 times x is 360x. 153 times 2,712 is 41,936. Divide out each side by 360, and you get 1,152.6, which we're going to have to round up because you can't have 0.6 of people. So we would say that about 1,153 people chose an unlimited data plan. Okay, so nothing too difficult. Again, I know the part of the circle, I know the whole circle. I know part of these people have an unlimited plan, and I know the total amount of whole people we have. Another question we're going to answer. Letter choice B says, what percent of the cell phone plans were sold with an unlimited plan? Okay, now I know the total number of people right here. I have my total. That's how many people have an unlimited plan. Again, I'm thinking in terms of a ticket. I know that we don't know how many people were sold with an unlimited, but I know that percents are measured out of 100. I don't know the percent, but I know percents are measured out of a whole of 100. I know that 153 people have an unlimited data plan, or 1,153 people. From there, I know that there's a total of 360 degrees in that circle. So, back up, 153 out of 360, because we're talking about the degrees, not the people. So we know that 153 out of 360 represents the percent of that circle. So from there, again, I cross multiplied. And then, once I divide here, I'm going to find out that it's 42.5, but we're talking percents. What's the percent? So it'd be 42.5. And again, if we think back to earlier, we said a little bit less than half. Well, 42.5%, less than 50%. And last question, guided question we're going to do here. What percent are sold without an unlimited data plan? Well, again, part to whole. What do we know? There's a couple different ways. Once I know the percent, if this was like kind of already asked for me, well then I know 100 minus that would give me the answer. So we already know that it should be 57.5. But let's say we were never asked that question. We were only using the information that we kind of solved before. So again, parts the whole. I know that there's 207 people out of the 360 degree circle. Okay, 207 degrees out of 360. And I got that 207 because originally we said that it was 100 and... Gotta go back up top and see. 153. So all I did was 360 minus 153, and I know that the rest of that pie chart or that circle graph must represent how many people did not have an unlimited data plan. Again, I want the percent. I don't know the percent, but I know percents are measured out of 100. And just to show you, we get the same exact answer of 57.5 after I cross and multiply and divide by my coefficient to solve for my variable. Okay, so a couple different ways I could answer that last one. This is going to be a little bit trickier because if you don't know the percent of the people with an unlimited plan, then you're never going to be able to kind of work backwards that way. So you'd have to kind of go with the information. The leftover piece of the circle graph out of 360 degrees, we don't know the percent, but we know percents are measured out of 100. From there, if you want to try to pause and try a couple of these, if you still feel like this is a little bit new and you want to keep going, keep with me. All right. If there are 124 students in Mr. Paul's class, how many celebrate Easter? It looks like we have some kind of survey that was given. The pink version, again, it might be hard on your note sheet to see the pink versus the blue, so you're going to have to look at the screen. Pink celebrates Easter, blue does not celebrate Easter. We know that 12% does not celebrate Easter. We know 88% does. Now, we want to know about how many people, not the percent, about how many people of the 124 do celebrate Easter. So again, parts over whole. I know that 88% out of 100 celebrates Easter. I don't know how many people that is out of 124. So again, it's parts the whole, parts the whole. From there, I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to get 100x equals, this one I forgot to do, so I'm going to pick up my calculator. 88 times 124 is 10,912 divided by 100 gives me a final answer of 109.12 people. Again, I'm going to cross that 0.12 out because you can't have 12 hundredths of a person, so we'd say about 109 people of the 124 people surveyed celebrate Easter. Second question, based on the information, how many degrees would make up that part of the circle? Again, we know that there's a total of 360 degrees in this graph. We'd have to find out some information from there. So again, I know that 88 out of 100%. I know that circles are measured in 360 degrees, but again, I do not know how many degrees that would be. So again, I'm going to have to cross multiply. I'm going to get 100x equals 88 times 360. Is 31,680. I'm going to divide that by 100, and I'm going to find out that x was really 316.8 degrees. And again, if I go back up here, I would say that most people out of the 100%, most people celebrate. And again, I know there's 360 degrees in a circle, and that's a lot of degrees in the circle. That's definitely more than about 3/4. And again, up here, definitely more than 3/4. 3/4 would be about there. All right, from there, again, I would pause the video, give these a try. These ones actually a little bit easier. You could kind of use some information that we know about percents. When you're ready, unpause the video. The chart below shows a budget over the course of a month. The budget is based off of a monthly income of $3,200. Okay, first up, determine the total amount of money spent on utilities over the course of 1 year. First off, we got to figure out, it says 1 year, but we have months. This is based off of a chart for 1 month, but I know there's 12 months. The first thing I did was find out, well, how much money did they spend altogether? When I multiply 3,200 times 12, I get $38,400. So now I know how much they spent. Again, from there, if I look at the chart, it says utilities, which are right here. 13% of their money is spent on utilities. Well, I know that of the money means time, so when I multiply, I get $4,992. Second question, B, how many degrees would be the other expenses? Here, I am going to have to use my ticket information. So again, it's parts over whole. I know that 18%, because if I look up here, the other expenses are located right here. That red portion, that's 18 out of 100%. And again, I don't know how many degrees it would be, but I know there's 360 degrees in a circle. Again, I cross multiply, and I'm going to find out when I divide that I get 64.8 degrees. And last one before we roll into today's work. Letter choice C. How many total degrees would be represented if food and housing were combined? First thing I want to do is slide my graph down so we can take a look at it for this question. All right, well, they want to combine food and housing. First off, let's locate it. Food is right here. It's that teal portion. Housing, right next to it, the blue portion. I know I want to combine these two. So I have 20% for housing, 17% for food. If I combine that, I got 37%. So from there, again, I know that 37% out of 100 are food and housing. I don't know how many degrees out of the 360 that would be, but I know if I cross multiply and solve, I would get 133.2 degrees. Okay, so again, you just got to use your information, your knowledge about percents, use your knowledge about ratios and proportions, use your knowledge about circles, kind of put it all together. These problems aren't hard if you kind of think about it. A lot of them can be solved with a ticket or just straightforward percent problems. At this point, you should have your bit.ly ready to go. Get that done, raise your hand, you're all done for the day.